Let's solve another problem. I was asked to do some easy ones, so I've just picked a random one, and let's read the problem description first. Given an integer column number, return its corresponding column title as it appears in an Excel sheet. So we're mapping A to 1, B to 2, or rather 3 to C, because it said we get a number in and we're supposed to output the number, the column title. And once we hit 26, we wrap around to AA, and then we count up, and I assume once we hit AZ, we'd count to BA. Now, two things I noticed. First, we have 26 symbols. Second, we start at 1. We are not 0-based, we're 1-based counting system. So, yeah, 26 is AB because 26 is 28. 26 is A, so we'd wrap around on 27 to AA, and plus 1 would be AB, and we see that it wraps around eventually, so we count on this position. So our hypothesis was probably correct. What the problem is asking us is to do a base conversion on numbers. Now, the trivial case is simple. If we think about it, if let's define our symbols first. That would be A to Z, which represents basically 1 through 26. That's kind of what we're working with. So the base case is simple. If n is smaller equals to 26, then we just return our symbols of n minus 1. Minus 1 because we are 1-based and arrays are 0-based, so we're shifting over by 1. Now the interesting case, what happens if we are larger than 26? Let's think about this in a base 10 first. So let's say we're trying to only convert from 1 to 10 in a, let's say we can only convert from 0 to 9. That's easier. That's the easiest in base 10. So how would we convert a number like this into a string where it's the so this should be A D sorry, this should be B E A B, with B being 0, A being 0. Now we shifted over, but that's okay. We'll care about shifting first. So one thing we can recognize instantly is that the last letter symbol here is the same. And actually every one corresponds to the position. Which is not surprising because it's base 10. But if we'd write an algorithm for this, we could do something like n, the remainder, divided by 10, because we have 10 symbols. Well, the remainder of if we divide by 10. And that is a symbol, the last symbol. And if we divide our number by 10, or just cut off the last symbol now, then we'd arrive at 140, and we could compute here the last symbol again. In this case, this would be B, this would be A. We can cut off the last symbol again. That gets us to E, and we can cut off the next symbol, then that gets us back to AB. And we can keep doing that until we're done. And this applies to any base. So how do we do shifting? Well, shifting in any number base is basically integer dividing by the number of symbols we have. So a shift in binary, for example, is to divide by 2. A shift in the base 10 system is divide by 10. That's what we see here. And a shift in a 26 base symbol would be a division by 26. So if we look at binary, this is 5. That's 5. So if we divide by 2, 5, that would be a 2 because we're rounding down. And a 2 in binary is 1, 0. We can see we shifted over 1. And if we divide again by 2, that's 1, 1. And that's fine. So our general strategy would be to divide by, take the remainder of 26, divide by 26, and then iterate. Now, there's one special case, and that is we're 0-based here, not 1-based. That means we need to account that this 0 has a meaning here. So everything's shifted over by 1, basically, in every position. Right, so let's get to our code. Let's define our alphabet. So we can do car code at 0. That's the number code of A. And then we can do symbols equals new array. We have 26 symbols. Let's fill it and let's map it to, we ignore the first symbol. We care only about the index, and we can map it to the string. Let me wrap this around that we can actually read this. And this is simply the value of A plus the index. So this will give us the entire array from A to Z. We can convince ourselves that this is the case by simply logging out symbols. And we see we get A through F and then all the way to Z. So this seems to be what we wanted. Now that we have our symbols, we can do our actual code. We talked about it in a recursive fashion, so let's implement it recursively and then iteratively, because we can also do that. So we have a base case if column number equals smaller equals 26. Then we just return the symbols of column number -1. If we don't need an if here. So in every other case, we want to return the convert to tile function with our new n, that is the shifted n. n-1 shifted by 26. And we need to floor this because JavaScript doesn't do integer division directly. And this is column number. And we want to add to this the actual position, which is our column, our symbols. And then here we take simply the mod of our column number. So column number -1 mod 26. Right. So, to convince ourselves, we can copy over this example here. And let's just run this function. And we're getting zy. Now, if we add a 26 to this, which would be 27, we're expecting it to shift over. And it did. Correctly, yeah. The y stayed and we just shifted over. So, that appears to be correct. Now, this isn't the most efficient way to do that, so let's reimagine this as a, let's redo this as with an iterative approach. So let's have our string and our number, we already have it, but let's put it into a different variable name. And while n larger 0, we can compute our s again, which is the old s, and we're computing from the back to the front. So we're adding, it's the same logic down here, we're adding to the beginning. So this is symbols of n 26. Now we want n to be 1 smaller. And then we can assign our new n to be n divided by 26. We don't need to subtract 1 again because we did this with the operator here. And we can return s. If we run this, we also expect to see AAY. That is what we do. Now, I'm not entirely certain on the efficiency in JavaScript strings. We could also turn this into an array. For example. And hope that the array join function is more efficient. I don't know if that's the case. So I'm not going to do that, but that would be a thing we could try. So let's go back to the browser. And let's submit the code and see if we're correct. Apparently, I forgot to copy over the constants up here. Yes, and we're done. If you've got any questions or want me to take a look at something, leave a comment. You feel free to join my Discord. It's currently empty, but I'm in the process of building it up. Thank you.